Cambodian Freedom Fighters. The Cambodian Freedom Fighters CFF, Khmer Siel Nakmzria Jatik Muja, is an anti-communist political and paramilitary organization that was established on 21 October 1998 by its founder, Chhun Yasith, at Poipet near the Cambodian-Thai border. Their headquarters are in Long Beach, California, United States. It was incorporated and registered at the Californian Secretary of State's office as a political organization in June 1999 and aims to fight against communists to protect the interests of Cambodian people. The CFF claimed to have 500 members in the United States and up to 20,000 supporters in the Kingdom of Cambodia. History and attacks. The military branch of the CFF emerged in November 1998 in the wake of political violence that saw many influential Cambodian leaders flee and the Cambodian People's Party assume power. With the objective of overthrowing the government, the group is led by a Cambodian American, a former member of the opposition Sam Rainsy Party, includes Cambodian Americans based in Thailand and the United States and former soldiers from the separatist Khmer Rouge, Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, and various conservative political factions. In the wake of the violence, more than 200 people, including Richard Kiri Kim, were arrested by the Cambodian police. On 19 September 2000, a grenade was thrown by two men on a motorcycle at a phone booth. 4 people were killed and 9 injured in the attack. Although they did not claim the incident, the government saw the CFF as suspects. In 24 November 2000, 2 attacks were registered, 8 people were killed, and at least 14 wounded when as many as 70 anti-government rebels stormed state offices and battled security forces in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. The rebels threw grenades and used AK-47s in an exchange of fire with soldiers and police outside the Ministry of Defense and cabinet buildings, and 10 men launched an assault on a military barracks approximately 15 kilometers 9 miles west of the capital. There were no reports of casualties or damage. Police believed that the attacks were perpetrated by the anti-government group, the Cambodian Freedom Fighters. After the attacks, Cambodian courts have jailed several dozen people for their roles in the attacks in trials that have been widely criticized as unfair. During the arrests of CFF suspects after the November 2000 raids, Cambodian human rights groups and opposition political parties accused the government of arbitrarily arresting and jailing several legitimate party figures on charges of being CFF members. In December 2000, Human Rights Watch reported that, within 2 weeks after the November attacks, over 200 people had been arrested all over Cambodia, most without a warrant. 6 December 2000. Many of those arrested or detained are affiliated with the Royalist Funcinpec Party of the opposition Sam Rainsy Party SRP, Human Rights Watch reported 6 December 2000. In its 2002 annual report on human rights practices in Cambodia, Human Rights Watch stated that another 50 CFF suspects had been arrested in September 2001 in the provinces and Phnom Penh, and that human rights groups expressed concern that the government's response to the CFF November 2000 attack in Phnom Penh could be used. On 22 June 2001, the Cambodian Criminal Court handed down their verdict on the Cambodian Freedom Fighters attack of 24 November 2000. And Mao New Saran and 3 Cambodian Americans, Richard Kiri Kim, Thong Samian, and Chhun Yasith, were sentenced to life in prison on charges of conspiring to commit terrorism. Chhun Yasith and Thong Samian were tried in absentia. A year later, the 1 November 2001, a series of bombings that included 4 improvised explosive devices which detonated near the governor's office, other near a deputy governor's home, and other more near in the provincial prison in Pursat Province, Cambodia. No one was injured and there was only minor damage as a result of the explosion. Authorities suspect the involvement of CFF 24 other men, and one woman were found guilty of various charges and given prison terms ranging from 3 to 20 years. Among them were two prominent former Khmer Rouge commanders, Seng Narin and Tumlap Mill, who each received 15 years in prison. Politics, 6, politics, politics, 6, politics, politics. The Cambodian freedom fighters have chosen not to participate in the election process in Cambodia because they state Prime Minister Hun Sen belonged to the ultra-left Khmer Rouge and he has rigged the election process in Cambodia. They have chosen to remove Hun Sen's government militarily because they believe he and his regime are guilty of corruption in the election process in collaboration with the Communist Vietnamese that placed Hun Sen in power in 2008, Chhun Yasith, founder of the Cambodian Freedom Fighters, was tried and convicted in the U.S. in relation to masterminding the 2000 coup attempt. CFF exact strength is unknown, but totals probably never has exceeded 500 armed fighters. CFF operates in northeastern Cambodia near the Thai border. Its U.S.-based leadership collects funds from the Cambodian American community. Finances. The Cambodian Freedom Fighters collect operating funds through active solicitation of donations from the Cambodian American community in the United States and Cambodian refugees in Europe.